Today, we are focusing on money management through the 50-30-20 guideline. You might be curious about the 50-30-20 rule. If you're not familiar with this, here's an example. Imagine you have a pie in front of you, and half of that pie, which is 50%, represents your necessities. This is all about budgeting and comprehending the allocation of your money within an ideal personal budget plan. So, we have 50% allocated for needs, designate 30% for wants, and reserve 20% for savings or debt repayment. With this visual representation in mind, let's delve into each of these percentages and provide examples for a better understanding of how to gauge your personal finances based on these metrics. It's important to note that we're working with after-tax income, which is often referred to as net income. You might earn a gross income of, let's say, $50,000 a year, but after taxes, you're left with a specific amount. We'll be using that after-tax dollar figure. When it comes to the 50% allocated to your needs, what falls under this category? Let's consider your essential living costs. This includes expenses such as groceries, housing, whether you're paying a mortgage or rent, and health insurance, which is crucial in case of unexpected health issues. You can possess services such as power and similar stuff. Thus, a necessity is basically something that would seriously trouble you, or something you truly cannot exist without, like food and a place to stay. So, when you allocate 50% of your budget for necessities, keep in mind that those are the things you are considering. The following sensible step to explore is what falls under the category of wants. This is where many Americans often struggle to distinguish between desires and necessities. A want is something that leads to a small disruption in your life. It's not a vital requirement. Like, if I don't eat or lack shelter, I might face life-threatening consequences. A want is something you are ready to let go of, a small inconvenience. For example, canceling your Netflix subscription, or skipping Hulu, or not purchasing a shiny new grill for grilling steaks. You can still live without those things, right? Another good example is shopping. Do you really have to buy new clothes right now? Will you keel over if you don't get a new pair of shoes? Eating at restaurants is another example. This is a significant issue for many Americans. For various reasons, their lives are so hectic that it's more convenient to hop in the car and pick up food instead of cooking it at home. Perhaps if you truly don't have enough time to prepare food for yourself. However, if you can spare an hour or two cooking meals at home, it would be a great way to save money. Hobbies are another example. Indeed, everyone should absolutely pursue a hobby. It's one of life's greatest pleasures, whether it's gardening, flying drones, being a video editor, or whatever you choose. Whatever brings you joy as a hobby certainly falls into the category of wants because it's not essential for survival. But if worst comes to worst and you really need to cut corners just to survive, it's not a bad idea to skimp out on your hobbies so you can live another day. Once more, folks, a want is something that you don't absolutely require, but it significantly enhances your quality of life. So let's move on to the final 20%. And I understand that much of this may seem straightforward, but until you actually jot it down and grasp where all your money is flowing, it makes a difference. What's tricky is that your wants can easily sneak into the needs category, causing both to overflow and leading to monthly debt. So make sure to be mindful of your wants and needs. Speaking of debt, let's discuss savings. The final 20% of your income should go here. And remember, these are all after-tax numbers. For instance, if you have an emergency fund, you can classify that as savings. A good number to have for an emergency fund is having 6 to 12 months' worth of living expenses. So, if you calculate that your needs plus a bit of wants add up to, let's say, $2,000 a month for your entire family, you will need to save around $12,000 to $24,000 in your emergency fund. It's understandable that it may seem like a significant amount of money, but in a family with 1 or 2 people bringing in income, a single layoff or job loss can provide substantial financial burden. It's important to prioritize paying off debts, such as credit card balances and student loans, by allocating that 20% towards them. Furthermore, if you intend to build a retirement fund, Many Americans could face financial challenges in 20 to 30 years because they often neglect saving for retirement. Yes, some of this advice may seem obvious, but it's important to create a monthly budget to gain a clear understanding of your net income and allocate it according to the 50-30-20 rule. You might be surprised to see how your money is distributed across various categories once you start tracking it. Unless an expense is neither a necessity nor something you truly desire, it should fall within that 20% section reserved for savings and debt. That's essentially what I wanted to share with you today. I realize it may not be groundbreaking, but until you actually document and grasp how every one of your post-tax dollars is being spent, you can find it quite eye-opening. Yes, this video is relatively brief, but the information it contains is highly valuable. If you think a friend or family member could benefit from this video, please consider sharing it with them. Tell us your own budget habits in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, click the like button, subscribe to The Wealthy Way, and turn on notifications to stay up to date with our latest uploads.